dear friends, you may possibly not be unprepared to receive the intimation that something has turned up. I am about to establish myself in one of the provincial towns of our favorite island in immediate connection with one of the learned professions. You therefore find us on the brink of migration and will excuse any little discomforts incidental to that position.
My family may consider it a banishment, if they please, but I am a wife and a mother, and I never will desert Mr. Micawber. I consider it no sacrifice to immure myself in a cathedral town.
You're going to a cathedral town?
To Canterbury. I have entered into arrangements by virtue of which I stand pledged and contracted to Mr. Uriah Heep.
Uriah Heep?
To assist and serve him in the capacity of confidential clerk.
Are you acquainted with Mr. Heep?
Yes, I am indeed, ma'am. And I feel it my duty to warn you against him.
My dear Copperfield, I am bound to state to you that it was the prudent suggestion of Mrs. Micawber that has conduced to this result. The gauntlet to which you referred upon a former occasion being thrown down in the form of an advertisement was taken up by my friend Heep.
Your friend?
Well, so I flatter myself.
I know Uriah Heep. I've known him since I was a boy. He is a false, scheming creature.
No,
Traddles, you'll bear me out.
He's a man not greatly admired in the profession, sir, but much feared.
These are opinions to give one pause, indeed, but certain pecuniary engagements having been entered into upon either side, grave difficulties must be anticipated in any attempt by me to extricate myself from. In short...
Mr. Heep has settled all our debts, Mr. Copperfield. There can be no going back.
Micawber's duly left for Canterbury. I heard regularly from Agnes, and though nothing in her letters gave me particular cause to feel anxiety for them, or her, I remained uneasy.
Mr. Copperfield, would you step in here a moment?
Mr. Murdstone? Miss Murdstone?
David?
Miss Murdstone, have the goodness to show Mr. Copperfield what you've shown me. I believe this is your handwriting, Mr. Copperfield.
It is, sir.
Thank you, Miss Murdstone. We won't detain you further.
What? But my brother and I have come here today in spite of the fact that he lost his wife a month ago and is in mourning, as you can see.
Jane Murdstone, enough. My private grief is not at issue here. My sister has a great deal more to say, sir.
Your sister, Mr. Murdstone, has done her part. It is now between myself and Mr. Copperfield.
Very well.
I protest.
Jane!
But Mr. Copperfield's behavior has been abominable.
Jane Murdstone! Will you hold your tongue?
Well, Mr. Copperfield, have you anything to say?
There's nothing I can say, sir, except that all the blame is mine. Dora...
Miss Spenlow, I think you mean.
Miss Spenlow was persuaded by me to consent to this secrecy, and I greatly regret it. But my love can be my only excuse.
Do not tell me to my face that you love my daughter, sir.
Could could I defend my conduct if I did not, sir?
Can you defend your conduct if you do, sir? Have you considered how young my daughter is, how young you are, what your prospects are, how many years it must be before you make a penny out of the law?
There's my book, sir.
Book?
I've written a book. It's with a publisher. I may get a good price for it.
Such an extravagant notion, Mr. Copperfield. One hardly knows how to proceed. Consult your friends, relations, people with some experience of the world. See what advice they give you. In the meantime, you are not to communicate in any way with my daughter. Is that agreed?
Yes, sir.
On your honor. As a gentleman.
On my honor as a gentleman.
Neatly, smoothly, keep your eyes on your
I
work.
determined to go down to Kent to see my aunt. Imagine my astonishment, then, to find that very person waiting for me in my rooms. My dear aunt. What an unexpected pleasure.
Trot, how are you?
Mr. Dick, how do you do, sir? How do you do, sir? Aunt, wouldn't you be more comfortable on the sofa?
No. No, I prefer to sit upon my property.
As you wish.
Well, Trot, have you got to be firm and self-reliant?
I hope so.
What do you think?
I think so.
Oh, then why, my love, do you think Betsy Trotwood prefers to sit upon this property of hers?
I don't know.
Because it's all she's got. Because she's ruined.
Ruined.
Betsy Trotwood had a certain property. Against the advice of her man of business, I allude to Mr. Wickfield. She invested in a gold mining venture and lost. Then she invested in a banking venture and lost again. Finally, she invested in a shipping venture and was sunk and sent straight to the bottom.
I have considered the position, Copperfield. I have even discussed the matter with, Mr. Jorkins. Prima facie, I can see no grounds, legal grounds, that is, to cancel the agreement your aunt signed, or to return to her the money she paid. Of course, if it was left to me alone, but, you know, Mr. Jorkins.
Spenlow, I'll return later.
You won't mind if I put my case directly to Miss Jorkins, sir?
By all means. But please excuse me. I have an appointment at the Lord Chancellor's office. I must be going.
I'm sorry to say I can't advance your object, Copperfield. And I, too, have an appointment at the bank.
Sir. My aunt can no longer give me an allowance. If I'm obliged to continue working here with no salary, how am I to live?
I see your difficulty, Copperfield, indeed I do. But if Mr. Spenlow objects...
Personally, he does not object, sir.
Personally?
Personally?
Oh, but I assure you, there is an objection. It's hopeless, I'm afraid. And now I really have got an appointment at the bank.
Well, if they won't, they won't. There's nothing to be done about it. Therefore, let us look the case of Betsy Trotwood in the face and see how it stands. Mr. Dick! Mr. Dick has his 100 a year, thank God. I have a little ready money in the cottage, that's all.
The cottage must be let out.
Oh.
But There is a small room upstairs I could take for Mr. Dick.